The mayor's night in the shadows, walking among the forgotten. The city never sleeps. Its streets are alive, its lights shine brightly, and its people are always moving. But beneath the towering skyscrapers, away from the bustling crowds, there are stories few ever see. That night, the mayor stepped out alone, without security, without a convoy, without anyone knowing. No polished suit, no official badge, just a man in an old coat and a hat pulled low, ready to witness the city in a way he never had before. For years, he had signed policies, approved budgets, and given speeches about the struggles of the working class. But tonight, he wanted to see those struggles firsthand. The forgotten taxi driver. His first stop was a taxi stand, where drivers leaned against their cabs, sipping coffee, waiting for passengers who rarely came. He approached an older driver, his face creased with exhaustion, his hands gripping a worn-out steering wheel. "Long night?" the mayor asked. The driver let out a tired chuckle. "Every night's long. These days, it's either that or no money." "Been driving long?" 30 years. Used to be different back then. We owned the streets. No. They belonged to the apps." The mayor glanced at the rideshare car parked nearby, its young driver staring at his phone, waiting for his next digital assignment. "You ever think about quitting?" The driver sighed. "And do what? I've done this my whole life. There's no backup plan." The mayor knew he was right. The world changed, and people like him were left behind. The factory that never sleeps. A few blocks away, an old factory was still buzzing with life. Machines roared inside, and tired workers gathered outside for a smoke break. A middle-aged woman sat alone, scrolling through her phone, her posture slumped with exhaustion. "Tough shift?" the mayor asked. She sighed. 12 hours. Double shift today. Rent's due." She glanced at him, barely interested. "Day shift's not an option." "Not for people my age. They say we're too slow." She showed him a picture on her phone, a boy, maybe 10 years old. "Your son?" "Yeah. I get home when he's at school. By the time I wake up, he's asleep. Some days, we don't even see each other." The mayor felt a lump in his throat. He had missed nights with his own family, but she didn't have a choice. "Why do you keep doing it?" he asked. "Because he deserves better than this." Her break ended. She stood, stretched, and disappeared back inside. A mother working in the shadows so her child could live in the light. The mayor kept walking. The night rider. At an empty intersection, he saw a delivery rider on a motorcycle, waiting at a red light. The man looked exhausted, his helmet barely covering his tired eyes. The delivery bag on his back looked heavier than it should. "Busy night?" the mayor asked. The rider glanced at him. "There's no such thing as a slow night in this job. You stop, you don't eat." "How long have you been working?" "Since 3 p.m. It's almost 2 a.m. now. A few more orders and I can go home." The mayor frowned. "And get some sleep?" "Sleep? Nah, man. I got another job at 7 a.m. Before the mayor could respond, the rider's phone beeped. He looked at the screen, muttered something under his breath, and revved his engine. "Time to go. Can't be late." And just like that, he was gone. Always moving. Always working. But barely surviving. Children of the streets. The mayor's path led him past a dimly lit bus stop. 2 boys, no older than 12 or 13, sat on the bench, their hoodies pulled up against the cold. "Why aren't you home?" the mayor asked. One of them smirked. "We are home." The mayor hesitated. "Where's your family?" The boy shrugged. "Don't know. Don't care." The mayor knew that wasn't true. "Do you go to school?" "Sometimes." "And the other times?" The smirk faded. "You do what you gotta do to eat." The other boy finally spoke, his voice barely a whisper. "No one notices us. We blend in." The mayor nodded. Invisible children in an unforgiving city. "What do you want to be when you grow up?" The quiet boy hesitated. Then, after a long pause, he said, "Somewhere else." The mayor felt the weight of those words. He reached into his pocket and handed them what little cash he had. "Get something to eat." They took it, but there was no excitement in their eyes. Only survival. The construction guard. A half-built skyscraper loomed over the street, its skeletal frame barely visible in the dim light. At the entrance, a man stood alone, a thermos in his hand, watching over the site. "Long night?" the mayor asked. The man nodded. "Every night is." "Why guard an empty building?" "Because it's not empty. Materials disappear. People steal whatever they can sell." The mayor studied him. A man who watched over something that would never belong to him. "You have another job?" "Yeah. Go home, get my kids ready for school, sleep for a few hours, then I work a morning shift." The mayor let out a slow breath. "And you just keep doing this?" "There's no other choice." The homeless veteran. At a park bench, wrapped in a tattered blanket, a man clutched a military dog tag like it was the last thing keeping him grounded. The mayor sat beside him. "Cold night." The man didn't look up. "They all are. You serve." "2 tours overseas. Came back, and the country forgot about me." His grip tightened on the dog tag. "Had a job. PTSD doesn't go away just because you're home." "Lost the job. Lost the apartment. Lost everything." Silence settled between them. "If you could change one thing, what would it be?" the mayor asked. The veteran didn't hesitate. "I just want to matter again." The morning after. The mayor had walked all night. He had seen the forgotten, the overlooked, the ones who held the city together but got nothing in return. As the sun rose, he made his way back to City Hall. But he no longer saw the glass towers, the wealth, or the politics. He saw the taxi driver, still waiting for a ride that might never come. He saw the factory worker, sacrificing her health for her child's future. He saw the delivery rider, chasing a paycheck he could never catch. He saw the street kids, growing up too fast. He saw the veteran, holding on to a past that no one cared about. And that morning, he told his team, "Last night taught me more than years of meetings ever could. The city doesn't belong to the people at the top. It belongs to the ones fighting to survive. And we are going to make a change, starting today. Because sometimes, one night is enough to change a man. And sometimes, one man is enough to change a city."